Hello and welcome to another episode of One2Gration Today. I am Jeff McKinney, CEO and founder of One2Gration and host of One2Gration Today. Today, I am really excited to be joined by our next two hosts to join and support their purpose in conjunction with the support of One2Gration and our resources. But before we introduce them, I do want to take a moment to pause and speak a bit about kind of where we are in One2Gration and the evolution and really what we're seeing around us. You know, I for the last 4 or 5 years have been building this vision and community and thinking about, kind of the challenges that we see out in the world today. And, over time, it has felt quiet at different intervals. Um, it's also felt very noisy at others, and so I really gotten used to not really paying attention to the noise or the quietness, and just focusing really on um, what thoughts align most with my purpose. And so, as I thought about the thoughts that align most with my purpose, I started to really get to the essence of really what it was that I was sent or created for. And for me, it was to build solutions. And so, One2Gration Today and One2Gration as a whole is about being able to present the architects behind the visions for how we provide these solutions to address the challenges that people are facing. For me personally, I spoke a bit about it just a moment ago. Isolation was not a fun ride. It was exacerbated at times by not having the right resources available when I'm not at my best. And so, looking at kind of my background in technology and building solutions, once I started to heal and work my way through understanding what I was experiencing, I started to really get excited about the pursuit of healing, but by building technology and community that would support people as a service. And so, with that said, I think it's no better time than right now than to bring something like this forward. I had the honor and the privilege a few weeks ago to join. I was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, if you could see that, as a invited by the Board of Regents to the honorary degree dinner and commencement for their winter commencement exercise or ceremonies. And being in that space and connecting with the people there and sharing the vision around how we were supporting the purpose of, we were there as a guest of Diane Nash, but supporting her in the Keep the Republic 2026 movement. It really did give me a moment, or I should say, encourage me to take a moment to reflect the opportunity that we have right now. I think the majority of people out there would say that they would consider a new approach to being their best self. And so that's what we're here to produce. And that's what One2Gration and One2Gration Today is about, telling those stories. And so with that, I do want to introduce Kristina Denham. How are you, Kristina? Welcome to One2Gration Today.
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. I want to pause for just a moment because I had this soliloquy type of moment, and I want to now pivot and really connect with you. First off, welcome. I have heard your story. I have seen kind of the work that you've you've done to get to this point to where now you've earned and you deserve access to be able to support uh, the people that you will connect with, and on behalf of those that you are to support. And I've had people in my family that have not had similar experiences, but that could have benefited from having someone like you alongside of them. On behalf of those people to come, I want to say thank you for uh, not allowing the things that you have experienced to kind of sit um, and become sour, but instead of taking that and using it as fuel to quite frankly lead what we're about to do in the future. So with that being said, I want to give you an opportunity to give a bit about a background, high level, into who you are and why you're excited about taking this opportunity at this time.
Well, thank you for the introduction. So my name is Kristina Denham, and I'm the founder of the Aubrey and Scott Foundation. And pretty much what I do is I am helping to build a community for mothers and parents who have had a premature baby. So the NICU experience is what I'm really passionate about, and being able to navigate families through the transitions and the hard journey that it is to go through that NICU experience. And so, we have created a space and a community to be able to empower them through this journey, to be able to give them creative outlets in order to also help with mental stability, and just be able to gain a sense of happiness while going through this period of time. So that's what I've been passionate about, and it was derived from my own NICU experience. And with that, and just going through that process, you realize just how much and how many different, how much room there is to make an impact and to help change lives, because there's thousands of people having babies every day. So there's always a mom who needs help. There's always a family who needs a community. And that's what we're trying to do.
I'm just jotting down some of the words that you're speaking of and you're mentioning. And you said there's always a mom that needs help, always a family that needs community, I think is what I have here. I think that's what you said. And your work is really all around care, healing, advocacy, if I could boil it down to, kind of the three core tenets. For you at this moment, why does it feel so important to bring this purpose forward? And what does it feel like to have the support that may have been missing or could have had a extra level in the past?
During my experience, I felt as if there needed to be more room for different types of mothers and situations. So for me, I believe that it was my own personal journey that led to it. And then speaking to other mothers while going through this experience, you start to realize that no matter what your background is, no matter where you come from, we're all going through the same thing. We're having some of the same experiences, and we're feeling some of those same emotions. And now I have seen it's been on the rise where, mothers and maternal health in general needs to be protected. And we need to advocate for ourselves. We need to speak up and say more about what's going on in our bodies. Every day you can find a story of a mother who's not being taken care of, whether that's within the hospital or outside of the hospital. So right now, in this period of time, I think that having that information, being able to have a system that you can go to, and then also being able to have information that you can have at your fingertips and be able to obtain at any point in time is very crucial. There's so much information out there. There's so much misinformation out there, and being able to navigate through it all can be very overwhelming. So being that advocate that can come in and say, here's a list of things and I'm going to walk you through it with a smile, with grace, and we're going to do this together to be able to have these different tools, really, to be able to be the best parent and mother that you can in this world that we're living in, which is getting crazier by the day.
Yeah, again, jotting down some of the things that you said. One of the questions, I think one of the questions that I had, and I have the severe ADHD thing that I have to navigate. So I'm listening, but I'm also thinking at the same time, and so that's kind of why I write while I'm listening, so that I can hear. Now, you mentioned being able to help ourselves. You said ourselves. I think that could be a tricky word, because it sometimes when it's about helping ourselves and you're the only one that shows up, it turns into yourself. And so, these tools that I envision to be able to bring, to be able to support, kind of like you and your purpose, is really about making sure that there is the hour in that equation. And so I wanted to really make that point. One of the things that I've seen in my own journey is that, sometimes for whatever reason, there are people who just don't show up. And when that happens, no matter what you may say, it does have an implication, or it does impact you. And so, there's a set of resources that are available regardless of whether that person shows up or not. And that's kind of what I hear you saying as well, is that, yeah, we want to make the resources available to you, but not just to you, but to those who are actually supposed to show up, because maybe that make it easier for them to show up and support in a way that may be uncomfortable for them. And so that's kind of the anxiety that may have been keeping them from showing up. So talk a bit about the importance of those that may be one step removed from actually going through the situation, and how these tools can support them in being there for others.
So I'm glad that you brought that topic up. I was one of those people. So when I went through my NICU experience, I feel like I was one of those people that you're speaking about when it comes to not having people show up. And then also not having people show up in the way that you need them can be a big deal. But the good thing, because of that and because of that experience, I have developed another tool that is able to help people try to navigate through, okay, if you don't have the people who you think is the normal community, that's family, friends, the people that you know, it's now finding a way to go outside of what you know and place yourself inside of a different community. And once within our community of the NICU and a lot of other NICU advocates and a lot of other NICU moms, it's a very soft space. It's not, what I've learned is that sometimes it's hard to go outside of what you know. But what I have learned and what I have seen and what I want to teach is through these tools is to be able to, your community is also being able to reach out and get diapers from this facility. That's a part of your community. It's there for you to be able to have that resource and pull from it. Now, we're not speaking just about emotional. We're also talking about financial. We're talking about baby essentials and things like that are needed. I think on more of a personal aspect of things, that looks a little bit different. But when we're speaking as to what is actually needed with parenting in the parenting side of things, I think that that's the community that I'm mostly speaking to right now, is to be able to help those who do have a hard time being able to ask for help, and teaching them that asking for help can look and feel not so heavy. It doesn't have to feel so heavy, because that's what they're there for. And then walking them through the steps as to the whys and the hows. It's just been, it's a multi-level sort of experience that you kind of have to go through. So the first part for me was always being able to at least be able to have those resources first, have those tools, be able to take care of my baby, as well as being able to take care of myself. And that may be a little bit harder to do with navigating outside of that. But when you have everything that you need, it also makes it a little bit easier to focus on you and how you're feeling, and what the experience has actually done to you.
Yeah, that's really exciting for me. The way that we at One2Gration, we talk about trauma-informed services. And so I was driving down the road 3.5 years ago, and it just came into my consciousness: Respocial, responsible social. I had long before, 2011, I was writing about, there's a notebook here I like to pull out. It says the Not Facebook on here. And it talks about these attributes that whatever the Not Facebook should have, I kind of list them there. And one of the reasons being was because of the noise I talked about earlier. And what I hear, when you talk about, your experience, I hear, the same thing that I've experienced myself, in that, you could even go out on social media and cry out help, and people will watch. I've had experiences where I've gone to people personally and I said, hey, this and this, and they didn't call me back. And so, we have to take a pause and think through, why would we be having that experience? And for me, I felt like it was so, I came to a conclusion. It was so that I could build a platform to take away the guesswork. And so you're saying the same thing when I'm listening to you talk, like, hey, look, that hurts, but it hurts less when you have a place to go. And, we're not saying that we don't need to have a conversation over there, but that's not the priority at the moment. The priority on the moment is you, your brand new baby, this beautiful experience. And hey, we feel pretty good about being here with you. And so those who choose not to be here, hopefully they're doing well. And so let's move on to the resources that we have, because those resources are rich and they're intentional and they are timely. And so as we close on this segment, I do want to just say how, again, for me, as the person who was given this vision to be able to bring resources to people, to now have someone aligned with your set of experiences, lived experiences, that can help build trauma-informed resources, so that we as a community can continue to heal, care for one another, and advocate for those of us that are ahead. So with that being said, I am going to pause with you, Kristina, for just a moment, and I will be bringing up, let's see, Len, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Welcome to One2Gration Today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
it is my honor again. You heard, kind of the conversation with Kristina. Of
Yes,
course, you have a heart there.
of course.
Kristina, it is your daughter, and I met Kristina by way of you. And so thank you for the introduction. But we want to talk a bit about you, Len. So if you don't mind, I want to just give a bit of the background, and then I'll allow for you, if you would, to give an introduction for yourself.
Absolutely.
So for those out there, I talked a bit about my journey to build One2Gration. I haven't talked about the challenges specifically, but I did have some challenges that led me to have some mental health types of experiences, landed me with some different diagnoses in that area. And all of those things were my reality. And so, I'm a fairly young guy and a fairly confident guy. And I ended up in a place where I just didn't feel good about me. And so I knew that had to be a lie. It had to be. Absolutely. I didn't know where or how, but the reason why I knew it had to be a lie is because it did not align to what God said about me. So it didn't matter what I thought about myself at that time. What mattered was how I was feeling did not align with what the word said about God's son, which we are all God's sons. So with that being said, I started getting busy on tuning out the noise and the chaos and going to pursue whatever resources I could find. And towards I would say, the tail end of the journey, when the lights were coming on a bit, I met Len. And Len caught me out in the field. I was working, supporting the NFL alumni Dallas chapter, and Byron Williams. Shout out Byron Williams. And we sat down and we began to talk. And what I quickly started to hear was someone with a heart to be able to reach people like me. And what do I mean by a person like me? I was as forward thinking as I could possibly be in that time. My heart and my intentions were in the right place. And I didn't necessarily know if I was headed the right direction. I just knew that that way back there was the wrong way. And so with that said, Len started to not only tell me a bit about himself, he started to kind of show me the work. And then I also heard a bit of storytelling. He was telling me a story along with the work. And so, Len, thank you for that. That helped me get a really, really good understanding of how you could support me, first off, because I needed the help, but also with the person with the purpose to think about how to help others. I saw how that could scale. And so I want to pause there and allow for you to give a more formal introduction of yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Our stories lined up very quickly. I was a young father climbing the corporate ladder, just trying to take care of his family. And my only goal was to do that. Then all of a sudden in my 30s, early 30s, I was thrust into a community position. I got a call from a friend one day that said, "Hey, guess what? They picked you to the board of the youth football." I said, "That's great. Wait, I didn't run for that. I didn't do anything." "What do you mean?" They said, "No, they voted you in. They wrote you in. They said they thought you'd be a good candidate." I said, "Well, that's really nice." That was the first time a community position of any sort had really crossed my mind. So I tried to fulfill that. In doing that, it led me to stay there a total of 7 years. But just along that way, about year 4 or 5, in my corporate job, I'm doing the best I can. I'm commuting every day, 40, 50 miles each way. And I'm rushing back to be at my community organization. But the point of that is this. I ended up getting into an accident on the way to work one day with a semi. The semi, I was off the side of the road. The semi hit the back of my vehicle, destroyed it. and I saw lights flashing. Literally, when people say they see their life going past, I saw my childhood and everything, boom, in a matter of a minute. But the point of that is I walked away without the injuries that the vehicle was totaled, but I wasn't. And so in getting home, walking up to my house after getting brought back home from the hospital, etc., my daughter was outside. She said, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing home?" I said, "It's a long story." So I go in the house, I call my job, I tell them what's happening. And they said, "Okay, take time off. God knows you need to, rest and everything." And I said, "Oh, but before we go, I just need to know if you are still going to donate that $1,000 that you promised to the youth organization." He said, "Oh man, you're in shock." I said, "Not at all. I just know I need to speed up everything from this point on. Nothing can wait till tomorrow." So with that said, that only led within a few months to a meeting. They called me in and said, "You've been distracted. You no longer are giving us what you used to give us in this corporate job." I said, "Okay, what are we talking about? I come to work every day." They said, "Yeah, but you used to stay longer. You seem like you had a lot more energy, but now your priorities have shifted. You think you got your priorities mixed up." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, your youth thing seems to be more important." I said, "You're right. I do have it mixed up. My priorities to my 300 constituents in my community and family are more important than what I do here. I can't tell you that they're not, because they are. And by you pointing that out, I didn't know you could see it, but just the mere fact that you pointed it out has really told me that I'm on the right track in my thinking. I need to refocus. So I'm going to put my resignation in, and I'm going to get back to what I promised to do first." So I did that, but it led me to a career of entrepreneurship I didn't see coming. While being off, not available for job seeking every day, now that I had committed this tragedy, I would say, I ended up testing some other areas of likenesses. So I began to I always liked the computer, but I began to get into Adobe and illustration and Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up self-teaching myself those skill sets. In those skill sets, I became an entrepreneur. I decided to take the show on the road. I said, this could be my new job, not knowing. I did it. Grew the business from bare bones, no experience, no path. It wasn't A to Z. It was jumping around over letters, skipping letters, going backwards and forward. And I finally was able to succeed somewhat. And through that journey, and I rushed through it, but through that journey, in around 2013, at the pinnacle of my life where I was ready to retire, I realized I hadn't achieved what I wanted most. And I had been promising people that I wanted to be a philanthropist more than I wanted to be a businessman. And so it kept me always doing things that were more to heart than and cause versus for profit. And so I wrote Thousandaires, this memoir about something called Thousandaires. The moral of Thousandaires, which I'm still a part of today, is that it's not millionaires. It's $1 at a time. It's common men, common women. It's people doing the most they can. It's dreaming outside the box. And so I wrote that and put it away. Made some shirts, gave them to some friends, and then it died away. But one day in 2023, I said, I'm going to pull this back out. It's time for me to give back. I'm at the end of my journey somewhat, but I met so many beautiful people along the way that were doing so many more things that I thought were way more outstanding than anything that I had ever accomplished. But yet they lacked the one thing that I never lacked. They lacked self-confidence. They didn't want to push the button. They didn't want to stop their comfort life. They didn't want to try nothing new. I always tried something new. So I said, you need to teach this concept. You need to bring people out of their comfort and into their next life. How are we going to do that? We're going to do it through exposure and through education about how to do it. The A's, B's, C's, and D's.
I think I said it earlier. Like, this is all about, you had this background in business and leadership, but you have this heart that's a guide. Mm-hmm. It's no matter where you are, it's a guide. And I think that's the reason why, the other opportunity in the corporate world, you're not guiding. You were performing a task of whatever that job was, but the opportunity to guide, and quite frankly, that allows for people to become their best, not directing and telling people what to do, but guiding them towards making the next best decision. Like you said, is $1 one day, one step at a time. And so, for us, One2Gration, we've talked about it so many times. Yeah, it's almost like the same thing, to be honest with you. I hear different words, but I feel the same about it. Tell us a bit about why you think, in your words, spaces like this matter right now.
Oh man. So our first meeting, I knew right away when you pulled it out on your phone, and I took a glance at it and looked at it. I said, wow. I said, hey, this is the first time I've seen anything like that. I've seen a lot of stuff, but I've never seen nothing quite like that. So in a space where we can be amongst community, other people who are doing things, trying to do things, asking for advice, looking at examples, getting hope and dreams out of that, we need to be in the same space. We all need to be surrounded by each other to kind of let the world know that we're here, we're coming. And it's others in the same space that have already vaulted that fence already. They have the experience. Pull back and understand that just wherever you fit in, you'll fit in, but you need to be surrounded by that. Not so much this daily social media stuff, where it's, what I had to eat, what am I doing right now? Yeah, that's fine. But what things are you bringing to the table that are relevant? How are you spending your time in this 8 hours, 10-hour day? Is it relevant, or is it just a bunch of stuff? So I think it's needed, Jeff, because what I found is, like I said, is people, they're this much away from the next great thing, but until they can start understanding how they have to get there and the people they need to surround themselves with. So your program, I knew right away I wanted to be a part of it. And so much so that I told my daughter about it, as you mentioned, and she needs to be a part of it. And she agreed. And when that solidified it, it was like, okay, we're going in and we're going in together.
There you go. And for me, it is a dream come true. When you can have people that lead with action, this is what authentic connection looks like today. As a technologist, you're a technologist on the graphic design. We trade these different beautiful things that you are helping us construct and do on our side as well.
Yes,
I see more and more and more of non-authentic. I think they call it agentic, artificial intelligence, that I'm not opposed to. Given that it's used in a way that is to help the person guide to making the next best decision. Correct. Not making a decision and not misleading anyone in any way. Now, that's a bunch of qualifiers for us to put out there, because we don't own the internet. We don't own all technology sets. And so as a technologist, what I feel is the next best thing is for us to put forth our best effort in making sure that humanity has a set of tools that could operate under these kind of core principles to make sure that if you need help, you know, we're on record.
Yes, sir.
We're on record saying that that we're here, and we're going to make it through the orchestration of certain visions and tools and resources in such a way that artificial intelligence is leveraged as a tool to get you to the human intelligence that will be there to kind of be dynamic and help you navigate those tough times. And we talked a bit about this with Kristina. Let's go ahead and bring her back. Kristina, welcome back.
Hello.
So I was just talking a bit about what I call your rhythm, and so your rhythm, the way that we see it is every individual has a uniqueness and a set of experiences that calls for them to have to pivot towards whatever is best for them. And so sometimes we go into systems and those systems aren't built to support the quirkiness, if you will, that we may have, or the lived experiences that we may sometimes have to navigate. And so what we have here with Kristina and Len are two human beings. You guys are not artificial, are you?
No. That's in my check.
Two real people with real hearts to be able to serve their purpose. And so this is how we go out and we I won't even say compete, but we evolve from, Len, as you said, there's this social media world that is pushing whoever's agenda is that we don't necessarily know, and we're not going to argue about that. But what we are going to do is we're going to offer an alternative that we feel is an evolution that says that you don't have to leave the social media, but with a fraction of the time, we think that we can provide you the right resources curated by humans to help you achieve what you said you wanted to do, not what we think is best for you.
Yeah.
And so that's a very, very exciting time for me, and I think it's needed in this moment. Before we jump, I would like to give you guys an opportunity. If there's something that I haven't shared about you, or something you want to offer, I do want to kind of give you guys the floors as One2Gration hosts. So I'll zip it and I'll throw it to you first, Len, since I kind of sprung this on you guys.
Okay. Yeah. So in that 1,000 Areas entrepreneurship that I mentioned, what we do is we offer online courses that we let people go and take them on their own pace, things like that. But we also offer one-on-one, sit down, talk to people about their needs and wants, and just kind of walk them through the process. There are many resources that we have, both from how to get stuff done. I'm personally from the apparel background side of the industry. So, those brands, startup brands, and people looking to move forward and learn things about that. We're offering our services for that. So with that said, go to our website, www.1000-airs.com.
Kristina?
So with Project Nick, what I'm doing now is that I have a free survival kit on my social media. So that is at Nick the Incubator on Instagram. And if you go into the bio, you'll be able to click on that link, and then you'll have a free survival guide, which is pretty much like a question and answer kind of form that'll let you be able to guide you through the process of some of the important questions that you should ask during your NICU experience, from the doctors to the nurses, and even personal questions for yourself. There's also a questionnaire that you can have signed by the doctor at the end, if you so choose to download that as well. So once again, it's in my bio at Nick the Incubator on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you both for leading with purpose. Thank you both for being here at this time. I know this is definitely a moment of alignment. I feel really, really good about the in my marketing had the personas or the people or the targets. We use these terms, and in my mind, I feel kind of icky about using them because they have almost like this salesy type of feel to them. But this is not about sales. This is really about, Len, you said it earlier. It's about leading with heart and bringing a passion around. This is really why I'm here, and it's for you. I think this is a shift that we're going to experience that's going to set apart the future versus the past. The past was really about technology, data, and entrepreneurs that were looking to serve their self-interest and amass as much wealth as possible. We can see it through the tech oligarchs and the challenges that we face with those who have more versus those who have less. And so what we discovered is that for those of us who have less, those who have more will not necessarily think of us. And so that's fine. That's fine because they require us. We don't require them. And so with that being said, thank you guys for being here at a time where the people need us. They need you. We can't wait on anyone else. No one else is showing up. And so not only did you show up with a heart, but you showed up prepared. And so we're going to get into some more of the details regarding, kind of the experiences, the lived experiences that you guys had to, now be in position to kind of lead these trauma-informed services on our Respocial tomorrow episode. Respocial tomorrow is another One2Gration Today or One2Gration O2G media production, where we focus on making sure that we give us a platform for a story of resilience and overcoming, so that those who have experienced these things can visibly see themselves as the hero in their own story and the person that's on the path to being a guide for so many others. And so with that said, thank you again for joining One2Gration today. Thank you guys for stepping up and being here for our hosts to be hosts. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for having us.